Ahoy hoy, I'm Planarwalk, and yes, I'm still around, so welcome to Flat Earth News. So June was an absolute shit show. So to start off, people are really concerned about the Starlink satellites, how they might be impacting stargazing. And on top of that, 3 of the Starlink satellites have already failed, which is not good news for SpaceX. I myself am really looking forward to Starlink being fully active. But, these kind of setbacks, they don't help. Hopefully the engineers can figure out what went wrong and stop it from happening in the future. Hopefully. But anyway, let's actually get into the news that probably everyone clicked on this video for. The non-sequitur dumpster fire shit show, whatever you want to call it. So essentially what has happened recently is the non-sequitur show has kind of imploded in on itself, is one way to put it, I guess. So essentially the reason for this is because Kyle and Steve agreed that when making the show, they would each have 50% of the show in perpetuity. And seeing as the show was making quite a bit of money and had quite a few patrons, I said had there, Steve should have seen 50% of the money. Now the reason why he didn't, as far as I can tell, is Kyle was taking care of the books. Now there was a little bit about Steve receiving benefits, and some people say, oh, the non-sequitur money would have impacted Steve's benefits, but from what I've heard, it wouldn't have. Now people may be thinking, well, non-sequitur has been going around for 2 years, why the fuck is this all happening now? And that is a really good question. I don't know why. Now one of my best guesses would be that Kyle hasn't been letting Steve on the show recently. In fact, one of the big reasons why this came out was because Red's Rhetoric was going to go on the non-sequitur show, but because Steve wasn't there, he was like, nope, not going on. This of course led to a hangout on Red's Rhetoric's channel where we first found out about the shit show that was going on. And at that point, it was still possible that the non-sequitur show could have continued as the non-sequitur show. What happened next though kind of destroyed that. So Bullionator and Steve were pretty much axed from the non-sequitur show, and Kyle tried to address what was going on, but he didn't really make a good case. In fact, he didn't really bring up Bullionator at all. There was actually a hashtag that people were spamming in the chat saying, hashtag what about Bull? Now Kyle did say about how he was doing most of the work, and that is understandable, but when you're doing most of the work, you talk to the other person. You don't just say, oh, I'm doing most of the work, this is really difficult. And there are other people that are doing this with me and they want paid and stuff. Gee, you're out. And from that, I don't think it's really debatable that Kyle could have handled this so much better. Steve even said to Kyle that he'd help him if he needed help, because Kyle was going through tough times. And, if you need help, then accept help when people offer it to you. But, Kyle didn't accept the help and, yep, non-sequitur crashed and burnt. It has lost thousands of subscribers and its views are half that which it used to be. Not to mention that it's lost heaps of patrons. I don't know exactly how much money it was making from Patreon, but my guess is that it's lost hundreds of dollars worth of patrons. Not to mention that it's lost the people that made the non-sequitur show the non-sequitur show. It's lost Steve McRae, it's lost Bullionator, and it's lost a whole lot of guests that would have gone on otherwise, like Fight the Flat Earth, Team Skeptic, Red's Rhetoric, etc. So all in all, the Kyle Curtis, the non-sequitur show isn't doing too well. Now one of the things that I was trying to do, and I'll stop now, is I was trying to get on the non-sequitur show. I messaged Kyle a few times, or I emailed Kyle a few times, and he only got back to me once. And the only reason he got back to me that one time was because I was in the chat during one of the debates. I can't remember which one, it was a while back though. Essentially, Kyle asked me, oh, what times are you free? I let him know what times it was free, and then... So yeah, I probably would have been a whole lot more successful if I had have just talked to Steve McRae instead. Even though it was Non-Sequitur show that commented on one of my videos telling me that if I wanted to go on for a discussion, that I just had to email them. So in conclusion, I think that Steve could have done more if Kyle had have just let him. And I do think that Kyle should have dealt with this far better than he did. If Steve asked to look at the financials, he should just, show Steve the financials. If Kyle felt like he was doing too much for the non-sequitur show, he should have said to Steve, hey look, can you please help me out here? And he should have thought more about Bullionator. And I do want to point out something that I think it was Red's Rhetoric said, might not be, don't quote me on that, but it was in his first hangout anyway, and that this is going to make all the wrong people happy. Or something like that. So there was that, and there was also a point made about how NonSequitur show has a lot of flat earth debates. And at one point they had Lawrence Krauss on there. They should have been aiming to get more educated people on. Like, you know, it would have been cool to see Neil deGrasse Tyson on there, or I don't know, Michio Kaku, or however you pronounce that guy's name. So that's all I really have to say about the NonSequitur show stuff. And because it is a touchy subject, I'm sure I've pissed at least someone off. So the next thing, to me at least, is quite positive. To flat earthers, it's a negative, and that is the flat earth movement is actually dying. So Patricia Steer has just gone, apparently. All her videos have been taken down and all that. You've got people like Daniel Pratt and Orphan Red apparently have stopped making as many videos, and people who are using the search term for flat earth is at its lowest point since 2016. And also the conversation surrounding flat earth has boiled down to, show us the curvature! Well, there's some of these photos, there's also observations by Miles Davis, all that kind of stuff. Well, did you account for the atmospheric refraction and the lens and all this stuff that we say will definitely have an effect? Do you even know what any of that does? No, but you gotta account for it. For fuck's sake. That's essentially flat earth these days in a nutshell. But when it comes to Patricia Steer quitting, I think that there is a bit more to it than just flat earth dying. I think that it is partially due to the accusations made against her by a lot of flat earthers who thought, you know, she's trans, or she's a paid agent or something like that. And honestly, I think she would have probably done so much better as a globe earther, because rather than trying to please the flat earth community, she would be trying to please the globe earth community. And the globe earth community tends not to attack people for suspecting them of being trans, or suspecting them of being a CIA agent or anything. Also, I wonder what's going to happen to Mark Sargent. Who knows? Now, the last bit of news is something that I've already announced, but I thought that I'd just put it into here at the end, and that is that I'm making a game. Now, there will be a Kickstarter and a trailer for it, and one of the things that has helped me out a bit is Dusty Smith has helped me out by essentially hiring me to put all his podcasts onto a SoundCloud, so that's good. And if you haven't heard already, this game will be called Flurfier, and it's about if the Earth were to actually be flat. And also Fight the Flat Earth is working on a book for this as well. Now, one of the things that does really help me out with this is all the people supporting me on Patreon. And whilst I really do appreciate all the $5 patrons, only the $20 or more patrons get rid of. So I'd like to give a special thanks to Fight the Flat Earth, Stantrucker, what Jesus? Still not sure that guy exists. Legere III, and Wolfie. But anyway, leave a like and subscribe if you liked that video. Leave a comment letting me know what you think about flat earth dying. Also, if you want to support me financially, you can do so on Patreon, link will be in the description. But anyway, I will see you in the next video. Between you and me, thank you for watching.